Ladies and gentlemen, top of the morning to you. The long awaited, highly anticipated return of Dave Aronberg, the coach of the Ladue High School Rams soccer program, and our guy for today for the uh, United States National High School starting 11 or thereabouts.
Well, I'm glad to be back. Welcome back. Hello. Hello again.
Hello. Hello.
You want to say anything about Select before I get going?
Wow. Thank you for the intro.
See that?
So you know that I know that you know. A ball can get out of shape. It's because of how it was created and made. All right? Well, in Select, they know something about something. It was made by a goalkeeper. And therefore, so you want straight. And you don't want wobbly and you don't want square. You want round. And there it goes, ladies and gentlemen, the Select soccer ball. It's the official ball of the United States National High School Champions League and the only ball that Whale Certified will play with for a soccer game. You don't have a Select, I ain't playing. Sorry, see ya. All right.
Which
Okay.
reminds me, I need to contact Tim McAvoy. I need another round of Select soccer balls for us too. We use Select for our game balls also. So
Oh
great,
man.
great soccer balls.
Yeah, you can never have too many, as a matter of fact. And there's
No.
for all types. The futsal balls are unbelievable, and the mini balls, and it's just everything. And the gear. If I could dream and be in the dream, I would have Select from the front door to out the back porch.
Head to toe.
Okay, Dave, you're on.
Well, it's funny, Wales. When I was approached about the starting 11, my first fear was, well, it's the summertime. What are we going to talk about the whole summer? And I think I might even have more than 5 topics today. So here we go. So, kind of a somber note to start with. Big news out of St. Louis this past week. A coaching friend, Greg Keller, who is instrumental in starting the Champions League here in St. Louis, was let go of his coaching duties in St. Dominic. I just want to go over how significant Greg Keller's numbers are. They are astounding. So Greg Keller's been at St. Dominic, I believe, for at least 25 years at this point. He is now the 19th winningest boys coach in Missouri history. He's the 9th winningest girls coach in Missouri history. If you look at his overall wins, he is 8th all time in the state of Missouri. So this is not, someone that just first time around the block. Greg Keller has had a ton of success at St. Dominic. And I'm sure whatever he chooses to do, because I'm sure there will be other opportunities, he will succeed. But sadly, in the last year now in St. Louis, we have lost Terry Mickler from coaching and Greg Keller from coaching. The two of them combined, Wales, have almost 2,000 high school soccer wins. I mean, it is mind-boggling, just the sheer numbers. So we wish Greg well. Greg's going to be a huge part of the Champions League movement still. And like I said, I think Greg's going to land on his feet somewhere if that's what he chooses to do, because he's a fantastic coach. I don't know if you want to add anything on that before I continue, but thought he deserved some plaudits.
Rather, if you're a donor, disgruntled parent, whatever the big negative was to put the sack over those guys, you'll never be able to take away the extraordinary standards of good soccer in St. Louis from what they did, what they have done. And
Yeah, and I think also just they're both still influencing the game. Well, Terry Mickler, even though he's not coaching now, again, huge part in the Champions League. Greg Keller obviously is like the leading force of the Champions League. So they've got their imprint on the high school game still. There's the legacy continues, and we wish them well.
amen. Hallelujah.
My second point here, we just had the MAC Senior All-Star Game was last Friday. It's one of my favorite events of the year.
Yeah.
It gets together. They pit the North versus South because in St. Louis we like to be provincial and have our North versus South. So I think Highway 40 is the dividing line. So any high school that's north of Highway 40 is on the north, and south of Highway 40 is on the south team, and it assembles the all stars of the senior class. Wales, because I love to look at stats and numbers. I looked at how many players had participated in the Champions League. So there were 41 girls in the MAC Senior All-Star Game. 20 out of the 41 from Champions League teams. On the boys' side, 26 out of 40 were part of the Champions League. So it got me to thinking, and I haven't really brought this up to the board or anything, but how cool it would be to have an all-star game of our Champions League teams. And this is a cool event for the seniors. They get a victory lap, and that's really fun. For a lot of them, it's maybe their last time playing competitive soccer. Some are going to go out and play in college, others maybe not. But what a cool concept to maybe put this into the Champions League, since a lot of our players are already being represented in this MAC Senior All-Star Game. So some food for thought.
Yeah.
That would be fun to kind of look at too going forward.
And so if you didn't know that I know now, is that the Wales was the All-Star in 1975. I was the defensive All-Star.
Wales.
MVP. Yeah, baby.
So you're more than just a sugary voice.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Congrats. Okay. Have you heard that the World Cup is going on?
No.
Well, it's happening.
Oh my God.
So World Cup. Everyone tunes in. You get a bunch of eyeballs watching soccer that maybe haven't watched soccer in a while. And obviously the people that are into soccer that's all that we're doing every day now is watching World Cup games. And it really gets me thinking, Wales, about an analogy that I use a ton. And so, now that we're watching the World Cup, I want a lot of the listeners to think about this. I view high school as the equivalent of the national team. And let me allow me to explain. Most of our kids that play high school soccer, they're not going to get to represent their nation, right? I mean, that's a very select few. Heck, most of the kids that play high school soccer aren't going to be playing maybe for a college. I think the number is 93, 95% of high school soccer players, that's the pinnacle of their career. Okay. So when I think of the high school, when you get to rep your local community, and you get to rep your family, your friends, all of that stuff that goes into playing high school soccer, in many ways, we are like World Cup national teams. And when you watch the World Cup, what you're noticing is you have all these great players, and their goal, if you ask any of these players, is they want to play for club and country. It's not club or country, it's club and country. So if you take this back to the high school level, why are we putting ourselves in a situation where kids cannot represent their club and their country? This used to be a symbiotic relationship, and I don't know why we have soured on that relationship. But you have kids who would love to play for their high school who are being told you can't play for your high school. And if you look at what the passion that this World Cup brings, this is what high school soccer brings too. All right, because if you've never been to a rivalry game in high school where there are 1,000 people in the stands and you don't see the passion that these kids are playing for, where they know the next day when they walk down the hallway, they're either going to get some congrats or, ooh, what happened in that last game? It really matters. It matters in high school. And it's sad to me as I watch the World Cup, it makes me think of high school and how many kids are getting robbed of this opportunity. I hear a lot, and I even have players that'll say, well, like my club team's better than my high school team. And you know what, Wales? I got a question for you. How many World Cup teams do you think PSG is better than? Do you think PSG would beat a lot of these World Cup teams? I think the answer is yes, right?
Yeah.
Because they have the top of the top. Okay, so my answer is who cares? It's not about is the club better than the high school or is the club better than your World Cup team. When it's World Cup time, everyone watches their nation. They all cheer on their nation. You might see this tremendous soccer player. He's on PSG, but his country's not that great. Okay, guess what? He loves representing his country. And so again, I think back to this analogy of high school, and why aren't we letting our kids do this? And it really just makes me sad. World Cup also makes me think of another one of my biggest pet peeves, and that is population theory. You know population theory, Wales?
I'm getting close. I'm warm. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to quiz you here in a second,
All
so
right.
stay on your toes. So population theory is the simple theory that the bigger the country, the more people in your country, the more you should be winning soccer games. Because, more people equals more chances at getting soccer players, correct? I mean, that's how people think.
Hmm.
All right, now, Wales, I don't know how your geography is. Do you think you can name any of the top 10 population countries?
Russia.
There
Uh,
you go. Okay.
China.
Yeah.
Greenland.
Well, we had two at
All
least.
right. All right.
Let-
All right. And then after that, man, India probably.
India. All right, so let me run through this for you. For all of our population theory experts out here. 1 through 10, here we go. Number 1, India. 2, China. 3, the United States. 4, Indonesia. Pakistan's 5. Nigeria's 6. Brazil's 7. Bangladesh is 8. Russia 9. Mexico 10. Out of those 10 countries, 3 of them in the World Cup. So Russia, you put an asterisk because they are banned right now from FIFA for invading Ukraine. But out of those 10, only 3 have even qualified for the World Cup. So the whole thought that the bigger population, the better your team's going to be, throw that out the window. That's bogus. All right. Smallest teams in the World Cup right now, Curacao, 185,000 people. Their whole country, less than the population of St. Louis. Cape Verde, African nation, island nation, 529,000. Bosnia only has 3.1 million. Qatar, 3.1 million. Croatia, 3.8 million. These are all teams in the World Cup who are, by and large doing well. Bosnia tied Canada. Qatar just tied Switzerland. All right, so why am I rattling off these numbers? Okay, I'm going to bring this back. I'm going to bring this back to the high school game. In our high school system, we have a bunch of population theorists, and they all think the bigger your high school, the better your team is going to be. All right. Well, it doesn't work at the World Cup stage. Let's look at the high school. Okay. I looked up, Misha has it on their website, the top 10 biggest schools in Missouri. You ready?
Yeah.
Blue Springs, number 1. Joplin, number 2. Liberty North, they're in Kansas City. They're number 3. Lindbergh, number 4, here in St. Louis. Number 5 is Troy. Number 6, Blue Springs South. That's another Kansas City suburb. Hickman, it's number 7. Marquette, here in St. Louis, number 8. Staley in Kansas City, number 9. And Rittner here in St. Louis, number 10. Okay, now, I just looked at the girls' season for this year. Those are the biggest schools. Population theory would say they're going to go to state and win everything, right? Out of those 10 schools, 5 of the 10 lost in the first round of the playoffs. Didn't even win a game in the playoffs. 3 of those 10 lost in the second round of the playoffs. All right, there was only one team that actually won their district out of those 10. So when what
Who
I get really
who
frustrated
who
with,
was
it
it?
was Staley. Staley won in Kansas City. They won their district.
Wow.
So when I get really frustrated with people who they can't see out of this loop that we're in, everyone just assumes the bigger the school, the better you are at sports. It's not true. And the stats, if you just look at the stats, it'll set your mind free. This paradigm shift that needs to occur. All right. So you have all of these schools that are showing you that just because they have a big population does not mean they're going to be good at sport X, Y, and Z. All right. Now, I just focused on girls soccer. Maybe in some other sports, these teams are good. But as you know, and I know, your school's culture, your demographics, that's what matters. Much like World Cup teams, your country's culture, demographics, a bunch of things go into making your soccer team successful. Croatia is tiny. They have a great soccer culture and system set up. So it doesn't matter that they only have 3 million people. They can compete at the biggest stage. All right. And what I really love about the Champions League is we give all teams a chance to compete at the biggest stage. So if you're a class one team and you're killing it, you're going to get invited to the Champions League where you can cut your chops against the biggest schools. All right. And my wish was that Misha would see this and understand this because we really don't have a great playoff system right now due to population theory. All right. That was a lot of stats. You got anything on that, Wales?
I'm man, I'm telling you, I'm starting to feel like Dave Aronberg. I'm starting to take on your persona. I'm right with you. I totally agree with you.
It's the more you look at the stats, the more you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize like
Yeah,
the disparity. It's crazy.
yeah.
Okay, last topic for you. I've taken enough of your time. We have a Champions League draw coming up late June. It's going to be at JJ Twiggs. Um, we are still waiting on the final MPR so we can get the invites for the at large. But we do know of 6 teams that have qualified because they all won their districts. Koryezu, heard of them? St. Joe, St. Dom, Parkway West, Fort Zumwalt South, and Summit. So those are 6 teams on the girls' side that have already qualified. The next 10, when we get the MPR final rankings here early this next week, or early this week actually, we will be able to reveal the final 10 for the Champions League draw. So that's what I got, Wales.
Wow, baby. I'm telling you, I'm reaching out. Everybody, JJ Twigs, that's the way to be, man. That's the way to get this draw. And oh, if I knew how to do it, I would do it. I would stream it. So, you know, but
It's a great time.
yeah, but Whale Certified will be there. We'll be on air, and because it's exciting, man. They, how it all works out, and it's really something. When I was a kid, that's a better pool. I like to go to that pool. There is not an easy pool in the whole of Champions League from its get go.
No, and that's done purposefully. We have them in different buckets. So, the top 4 teams in the MPR, they're split up. And then the next 4 best teams are split up. So you're not going to have a group of death where randomly the 4 best teams are put in the same. Again, take notes, Misha. So when you have these districts where 2 of the top 5 teams in the state are playing each other in districts, there are better ways to do this. So yeah,
Mm.
every pool is done the right way. In so many ways, the Champions League is getting it right, and that's one of the reasons that I am proud to be part of the board.
Dave, I gonna have to stretch my mode, my mo. I come from show business, and I'm saying to people, look at the movie with Burt Lancaster called The Rainmaker. If you want to see the whole hodgepodge of what's been going on, and I have high hopes, it's going to change. You and the way you bring the stats, Misha is going to listen to you. Everybody's going to listen at Peace on Earth through the day. All right.
Well, the thing, I will continue spreading the good word, and I will say, outside of a couple schools that have maybe um, their own interests in mind, every other coach I've talked to and every other school has been on board. And so I think at the end of the day, the movement's going to continue to grow until Misha has to listen.
Hip hip. Hooray. All right. Until further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the United States National High School Champions League starting 11 or thereabouts with Dave Aronberg and Kevin Whalen.
All right. Have a good one, Wales.
All right then. Cheerio.